guys, welcome to the Beauty Dish. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are a new subscriber, welcome to my channel. I am really happy to have you, as well as the subscribers who've been with me for a while already. Thank you all so much. Today I'm doing my foundation routine for dry skin. Now, this is what I've been doing lately when I want that full, flawless face of foundation and I don't want to feel parched or mummified or any of that awful, awful stuff that tends to happen when the seasons are changing and the weather is getting colder. I've been wanting to do a foundation routine for a while, but what really kicked my butt into gear was seeing Melissa, Mel MPHS, and Dana, Lolly Dolly 128 on YouTube. They recently both did their foundation routines for dry skin. They both have dry skin, and they had so many tips and wisdom and products, and I wanted to do mine and add that into the mix. I've linked to both of their videos below. They are an absolute must-watch if you have dry or dryish skin, so definitely check those out. Now, let's get started. I am going to tell you what I do, but also kind of give you options as I go along, or tell you, the different options that I might use in different situations, because the more you know, right? Okay, so I'm starting out with primer. Primer can really seal in your moisturizer and, of course, keep your makeup on and keep your skin comfortable throughout the day. Now, I know I don't have to tell you dry skin ladies that you have to moisturize before you put on makeup. You know that, right? Depending on how my skin's feeling, I kind of change my skincare frequently, or I choose what I need that day. So I'll probably have some kind of hydrating treatment serum, and then I'll have a moisturizer with sunscreen, or a moisturizer and then sunscreen. So that's what I've got going on today. On to primer. I am using Almay Smart Shade, which I said was one of my favorite drugstore face products in my drugstore face product video, which I'll link below. But this is color correcting. If you can see, there's green and purple bands of primer in there. So it's meant to kind of neutralize redness and sallowness and just kind of brighten you and perfect you before you even go in with foundation, which sounds great to me. And I do like the primer a lot. It definitely does do a bit of color correcting, and it helps the makeup stay. And it seems like I might be doing a lot of primer, but I'm not. I'm just adding a tiny, tiny bit at a time. And as you can see right now, I'm taking it right up under my eyes because it'll help the concealer to not sink into those fine lines. And it will color correct too. I like to let primer sink in for just about a minute or two, just, to get in there, and then I go in with foundation. Now, this is not a full coverage foundation routine. That's not something I do very often. I do have a recommendation, however, for dry skin, the Tarte Maracuja Miracle Foundation. It's a long-wearing 12-hour foundation. It does provide full coverage, and it keeps me pretty comfortable. I can wear this. Otherwise, I'm not an expert in full coverage foundations, aside from, just layering a decent medium coverage foundation to give yourself full coverage. Another good foundation for layering, if you like a natural look and something that won't dry you out, is the L'Oreal Visible Lift, which I just adore. It's a great foundation, but my first choice when I absolutely don't want any dryness, anything whatsoever, is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. It's wonderful. It won't make you feel at all tight or dry. And, I put this on with my fingers. Beauty blenders, everybody loves them. I haven't gotten into them yet. I want to, but it hasn't happened yet. And brushes are great too, whatever tool you prefer to use. One thing I will say is, with brushes, I think it's best if you aren't really buffing it in there, buffing it into the skin, in like small circles. If you can kind of pat it in with a brush, that's a little bit better, because that buffing motion can cause micro-exfoliation. I learned this from Wayne Goss makeup artist, so I know it's true. And it can kind of rough up any dry patches you have. So that's going to mess up the texture of your foundation. It's going to make your skin look drier, and that's no good. So I do like to put my foundation right up under my eyes. It's, you know, a perfect color match, which I think in most cases that's what you want with your foundation. And for me that just helps cover up the darkness that I get under my eyes. There's gonna be more correcting and concealing going on in a second. But the foundation is that kind of first layer of defense for the under eye area. Definitely less is more with foundation. I think I'm going a little heavy today, but I try not to. You know, concentrate it where you need it the most, around the center of your face. Because the less product you have, I think the better your skin feels. At least it does for me. And I just work until I cannot see the foundation. Just patting, kind of like you would put on a moisturizer or a serum. You just gently are patting it into the pores until there's nothing there. Alright, about my skin type a little bit. I consider my skin quite dry, but I do have an oily nose. It's not even so much my T-zone, it's just right on my nose and maybe right here. I feel a little oily, and sometimes I'll do this before I put the foundation on if I feel like my moisturizer hasn't completely sunk in, but I'm doing it now because I feel a little bit oily around my nose, and I want to be able to put concealer there and have it, you know, work. So yeah, this is a great thing to do before you apply your foundation, or really at any point as you're doing your makeup and you just feel like not everything has melted in. Alright, I'm going in with MAC Select Moisture Cover, and I am shade NW25. This is a pretty much perfect match for my skin right now, and I'm going to put it just where I want to look more perfect. Right in here. I try to be very, very sparing with concealer. My nose, of course, like, you know, so many of us, is always a little bit red, and I even sort of have the remnant of zit right there in the middle. I like to get it right here, and if there's any other spots that I'm not happy with, you know how to do that. So with just a flat concealer brush, I start blending that. I'll use my brush and my fingers at the same time. Not at the exact same time, but I don't take my concealer under my eyes like this because I don't feel like I need to. My problem isn't darkness, my problem is puffiness, and I know this might be a little slow and basic, but I really want to give you as much information as I can, all the little things, all the little information that can really make a difference. So I hope you're having fun watching me do my face. The next step is my Maybelline. It's completely wiped away. This is the Highlighting Concealer Dream Lumi. This is in Radiant. This is a brightening shade. It's the universal brightening shade. It's not supposed to match your skin tone. And for me, this is my, like, hardcore brightener, for lack of a better term. I also love the NYX Concealer in Yellow. This is a great concealer. They have skin tone shades, but they also have fantastic color correcting shades. And this is gorgeous for brightening. It's more subtle than this. So for the purposes of this video, I want to show you the one with the most impact. Okay, this is big. Under eye bags, I do not want to put any brightener on the puff, on the little puffy area here. I have to give more credit to Goth makeup artist. I've heard other people say this, of course, but I've watched all his concealer videos and he just drives this point home. You have to put your brightener on the shadow that's created by the puff. Underneath the bag or the puff or whatever you want to call it is where the brightener goes. And I'm going to put some in here too, because this area definitely needs brightening. And if you really want to brighten that center of your face, you can go here, you can go on your chin, you can go right here on your nose. You can kind of take it down like a pie slice, like this. I'm not doing a lot because I don't want to sit here blending forever, but you can do that. The key though is just to not go onto the puffy area, because that will brighten it, that will bring it forward and highlight it, and we do not want to bring out the bags any more than they already are. Okay, a great way to make sure you don't get that highlighter on the eye bags is to use a really small brush to blend it. Just so that you're not brushing the product all over the place and it gets where you don't want it to get. And of course I'm going with my fingers again, because they're the best. But you can use this or just any really small brush that's not going to get away from you. That's going to give you a ton of control. Another brush that I love for blending concealer is this one. It's by Sigma, the Precision Flat Angle P88. It's a synthetic brush, and it is really nice for when you want to get highlighter or concealer, you know, in a larger area. Okay guys, I know this seems like a lot of work, but I'm really just showing you everything. You don't always have to do everything. And I frequently don't use the regular concealer and the brightener. I will just do foundation, and then whatever my mood is, I'll maybe do a little concealer or a little brightener. These brighteners really do cover as well as brighten, so you don't have to do everything all the time. Finally, the fun stuff begins. So I'm going to go in with some cream bronzer, and if you are truly feeling dry, and especially in the winter, a cream bronzer and blush is really going to be your friend, because powder, even some good powders, can just be more drying. That's just sort of their nature. So the more creams you can build into your routine, I think the better off you're going to be. At least that's true for me. And I'm taking this a little bit under my cheekbones, my temples, sort of to contour my forehead a little bit, and also just create some more depth in my face so that it's not just all one color and all weird and fake looking, because that's not how our faces are. No. Alright, right on top of that very subtle bronzing job, I'm going to do a cream blush, and this is the Jordana Color Tint Blush Stick in the color Blushed. And these are great. These are like $3 or $4, and I think they work great. They're easy to blend, but they actually set. They don't remain overly dewy or just flat out greasy on your face. And they have some really nice colors. There is the faintest hint of shimmer in this shade, but it doesn't read as like, oh my god, shimmer. Alright, I know I just said that powder is inherently drying, but there are better products and then there are worse products. If the powder has the word matte or mattifying in the name, you know, maybe don't choose that one if you're feeling dry, or just use it on your very oiliest areas. But Smashbox makes the Halo Hydrating Perfecting Powder. It says it's hydrating, and I find that to be true. It certainly doesn't dry me out, and it gives a invisible finish, and this is what I'll go for if I'm using the Lumi foundation, but I want to amp up the coverage a little bit to kind of make sure there's no redness at all showing through. So when I use this, I will usually just, this is a mini kabuki brush that it actually came with the brush, and I'll just put it on my T-zone, and I don't buff it on, I don't rub it across, wipe it across, I just pat it like that. And the top of my forehead can get a little shiny, so I'll go up there too. My chin. And I like to set the foundation right here because it can sink into these smile lines. If you want to use a powder and you don't have something like the Smashbox, this is very expensive, but to me it has been worth it, and it has lasted me forever. But that aside, loose translucent powder can be really great, and I know the NARS powders that say that they're hydrating, they have a lot of nourishing ingredients, so I've heard they're wonderful. Sorry, I'm shedding hair. This is Makeup Forever. I'm just trying to use this up, and I will probably try the NARS after that. It Cosmetics makes a really good one that people say is quite nice and hydrating as well. If I'm using this, I will either use the Kabuki, or I tend to go with a fluffier brush. And I never use this and the Smashbox at the same time, but just for the purposes of showing you, if I'm going to put something across my cheeks, I like the loose translucent powders better than the Smashbox, because I think they, you know, once they sink into your skin, they are less visible and somehow less matte. So this is just going to help set those cream products that I put on my cheeks. And you can probably tell that it kind of tamped down the color of my blush a little bit. So if that happens, you can just go in with powder, or you can go in with more of the cream too. You can definitely put a cream on top of the translucent powder. It works fine. If you like to use highlighter, you can go in with a little bit of powder highlighter, you know, in the spots where you do. If you like cream highlighter too, you know, put that on after you put on the blush. That's great. And that does it, you guys. That was a lot. I hope you found it interesting and learned a ton and saw some new products that you might want to try. So I'm going to go put on the rest of my makeup so you can sort of see the full effect, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, here's my dry skin foundation routine with the full-on eye makeup, lipstick, eyebrows, everything. I did add a little more blush to my cheeks because I felt like I just needed a little more color, but that is all I did aside from doing all the other areas of my face. So that's it. Right now I feel so comfortable. You're going to be all day, you're going to feel hydrated, you're going to feel comfortable, you're going to look flawless, and even though it may have taken ages in the video, this is not something that takes forever. You know, you do your primer, your foundation, either a concealer or a brightener, some sort of powder situation, some sort of blush, and you're good. It's no more than really that anyone's going to do, whether you have oily skin or dry skin or whatever. So I hope you found that really interesting. If you have dry skin and you have tips for me, please leave those too. I love to hear. I know there are a million things that I don't know and a million great products that I haven't tried, especially if there's powders you have success with or concealers. I'd love to hear about those too. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day.